Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So there's some big Thor Ragnarok news and Black Panther. So Kate Blanchett might be playing a big villain for Thor Ragnarok, and Ryan Coogler, the guy who directed the Creed movie, is going to be directing Black Panther. So Thor's stuff first. Kate Blanchett, there's two big possibilities about which villain she's playing. And the reason people think she's playing a villain now is because Mark Ruffalo at the Golden Globes was like, I can't wait to see her play a big bad. So the Hulk is out of the bag. There are two big female Thor-related characters that she could be playing. There's Enchantress, big Loki collaborator. Tom Hiddleston has said he would love to do Enchantress at some point. And then the other one is an even bigger character, Hala. She is the ruler of the Asgardian afterlife, which in the Thor comics is a physical place that you can travel to. But it's kind of like a different state of being. So when you die as an Asgardian, it's not like you're dead forever. So Hel, H-E-L, the place that she rules over, is a place that you can travel out of. You can claw your way back to life. But she has absolute power in her realm. So even though she's not as big of a character as, say, Thanos, I would say she is Thanos level in comparison to the other villains that they could pick from. So that's kind of why I'm hoping Kate Blanchett's playing Enchantress. It'd be a little more relatable, a little bit easier to use her with other characters, because it's really hard to give characters convincing ways to fight big bads on the level of Thanos. Like when you use Thanos, he's so powerful that it's hilarious when other people try to fight him. Enchantress and Hala are just the most likely candidates, and what they might end up doing, if she does end up being Hala, is they might proxy her for death in the Marvel Universe, because she kind of represents death in an Asgardian way. If you don't know anything about the Infinity Gauntlet or the Infinity Quest, Thanos is in love with death. In order to win her affections, he assembles the Infinity Gauntlet, snaps his fingers, and kills 50% of all life in the universe instantly. The twist is that death doesn't want to have anything to do with them. So, Thanos, sad, can't win her affection, no matter how many people he destroys. But even though Marvel's doing a version of this for Infinity War, Thanos assembles the Infinity Gauntlet, tries to destroy the universe, everyone else in the Marvel Universe has to team up to stop him. That doesn't mean they're not going to change a whole bunch of story elements. They haven't even gotten to the cosmic idea of death yet. So that's why I think, Kate Blanchett, if she's playing the Hala character, could be a proxy for that. They've gotten pretty weird, but you guys can let me know in the comments, who do you think that Kate Blanchett is playing? More relatable Enchantress character, much more on the power level with most of the big characters, or Hala, an even bigger character, Thanos level character. Now, if you've read the comics, there are two different versions of Enchantress. There's the original, Amora, and then there's another version of the Enchantress that Loki created later himself as a tool of chaos. My guess is if they go with the Enchantress character, that they would choose the original Enchantress, Amora. She's just a little bit more grand in the classic comics. And as much as she could be a big bad, I'm also expecting to see some version of Firelord Surtur, just because he's so important to the idea of Ragnarok in the Marvel Universe. I think I've said it in my previous Thor videos, but the Ragnarok that Thor Ragnarok implies is the Jack Kirby version of Ragnarok, not the Civil War clone, which is also called Ragnarok. The idea behind the Jack Kirby Ragnarok is that he was basically reinvigorating the Thor comics. He was, killing off a bunch of characters, destroying Asgard, and then a new Asgard would be reborn in its ashes. There's even reports, because Jack Kirby was working on his Fourth World comics at the time, that he intended the new gods to replace the Asgardian gods, but then he ended up moving to DC, so he did Fourth World, New Gods with DC, and Marvel just rebooted all the normal Thor characters. In the context of the movies, most of that still works pretty well. I mean, they kind of destroyed Asgard in Thor the Dark World, but imagine it being destroyed in a really big cosmic way. They said that Thanos isn't going to be a big part of Guardians of the Galaxy 2, and that's one of the last films before Avengers Infinity War. But as far as I know, Thor Ragnarok, the movie, is going to be relatively self-contained to those characters, with the addition of the Hulk. Hulk is definitely going to be part of Ragnarok. Moving on to Black Panther news. This is actually really exciting. If you don't know who Ryan Coogler is, he's going to be directing Black Panther, but he directed the Creed movie, which is a Rocky sequel of sorts, but it feels so fresh and amazing, despite being, I think it's the 7th Rocky film. I think there are 7 Rocky films now with Creed, and they're doing a sequel to Creed, but now that Ryan Coogler signed on to Black Panther, he's not going to be doing it. I'm sure it'll still be fun. I'm not super invested with the Rocky franchise as much as I am with the Marvel films. So really, I feel like this is the best possible thing that could have happened to the Black Panther movie, next to Chadwick Boseman being cast. He's going to be an awesome Black Panther. Right now, they're working on casting the rest of the film. We're going to see some of Wakanda during Captain America Civil War, but it's going to be the job of Black Panther's movie to flesh that out. We know all about Vibranium. We know who Black Panther is. We're going to see him in Captain America Civil War. So you have an intro to the character, but you won't learn a whole lot about the culture of Wakanda and where they fit in the world. technically Black Panther is one of the richest people in the Marvel Universe. Because vibranium is so precious, he's way richer than Tony Stark. So without turning it into too much of a geopolitical thriller, the Black Panther movie, really has to tell the story of this person who has to take the throne after his father is killed and learn how to rule a nation and be a member of the Avengers in this larger context of the Marvel Universe. We don't know exactly what the storyline's going to be, but I'm assuming it's going to be a version of the origin story, and they're going to tell it in a similar way to the way Doctor Strange is handling the Doctor Strange origin story. Meaning it's not going to be super linear, there's going to be a lot of flashbacks, but we might start the movie in present day, especially because we're already going to see what he looks like in the costume. So he'll have already become Black Panther when we see him for the first time. Usually any first movie that a superhero gets is pretty straightforward. This is who this person is, this is how they got there, this is where they're headed next. If you don't know anything about Black Panther and you want to read one of his origin story comics, they did this mini-series, I think it was around 2004. It's intended to be a really easy read, so check it out. There's a little bit of talk about Spider-Man, Captain America Civil War stuff, and that there's supposed to be some sort of hoodie revealed, like an actual hoodie that you wear, that's going to reveal what Spider-Man's costume is going to look like. I don't know if that's true, but it's supposed to happen on the 15th, so if it happens, we can totally talk about it. If not, don't worry about it. The real talk about Infinity War now is how many characters are going to be in it. The Russos are teasing that it's going to be more than 60 characters. It's going to be crazy, which I don't think is a strike in its favor. Having more characters doesn't necessarily make a movie better, but they weren't trying to say that. They were just saying that there's going to be a lot of people in it. But that is how you fit in the Netflix characters and other minor characters from the TV shows, people that you would want to see in the movies, but not necessarily big enough characters to merit big screen time. I'm actually kind of blown away that there's so much movie stuff happening right now. Usually January is this dead period, but if you guys haven't seen it while you wait for my Star Wars video, you can click here for all my Star Wars Easter eggs. I've done about 3 Star Wars Easter egg videos, and you can click here to learn all about Spider-Man and Captain America Civil War. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.